Welcome to the wheels fall off, right? You know, and do my little whatever thing.
Okay.
Marshane gave me the sneaky quick rundown on you.
The 411.
The 411.
So you're gonna see my profile most of the time.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah, I hope it's your good side.
I don't have a good or bad side.
And I left my water sitting over there. In 5, 4, 3, 2.
Let's just ride till the wheels fall off. Till the wheels fall off. We gon' ride, we gon' ride, we gon' ride till the wheels fall off. Until the wheels fall off.
Welcome to another episode of Till the Wheels Fall Off, hosted by Max Christensen III. People of all colors and lifestyles tell us about the triumphs and failures of their lives, and the one thing outside of family that they will ride with and roll with until the wheels fall off. Welcome everyone to another episode of Till the Wheels Fall Off, hosted by yours truly, Max Christensen III. And tonight, what a special evening, what a special guest, welcoming into the studio for the first time ever, the first female guest on our podcast, the mayor of sunny St. George, Michele Randall. Michele, thank you so much for joining us tonight.
You're very welcome, Max.
I know
Happy to be here.
Thank you. I know you're taking time out of your very busy schedule to be here with us. I mean, there's a lot of stuff you do as a politician, right? And we'll get into all that here in a little bit. But also, we have some donuts sitting here in front of us.
We do.
Right? From the donut
That's
run.
how you got me here.
Yes, I know you do appreciate a good donut every once in a while, right? Who doesn't?
Yeah.
Who doesn't? Right? So the
Unless
donut...
you're crazy.
Right? Honestly, yes. The donut run down on 922 East Brigham Road. Okay.
See, I didn't even know about them till you brought these in.
It's pretty new. It's a pretty new spot. They have a lot of great donuts. They also have lunch stuff as well. I've never seen a donut place have lunch items.
These are good.
Really good, right? You got a little Persian donut right here, right? Tonight, I am trying the Oreo donut.
I'll show you mine. I've eaten a lot of it already.
Fantastic. Again, everyone, the donut run, 922 East Brigham Road. Go check them out. They're pretty new, but they are the best donut spot here in sunny St. George.
They're really good.
Okay, really
and
good.
What I'm impressed is, what time is it? 7:30?
Yeah.
And these taste like really fresh.
Right?
Yeah.
And the crazy part, they close at 3 p.m.
Oh, really?
Yes.
You've had these since 3?
Yes.
Well, they're good.
Really good, right? So they're open from 5 a.m. to 3 p.m., okay? And a big shout out to Riley Booth and Brandon Turley over there at the Donut Run. Again, go check them out. Tell them Max sent you, and they will hook you up. Really good stuff. So we'll eat those throughout the show. We appreciate them providing our little late night snack. I guess it's not late, right? It's only 7:18. So
Still late for somebody my age to be eating a donut.
hey, that's all right. I eat half dozen at this time and then just go to sleep, right? So let's get into it,
All right.
Mayor. But tonight we don't really want to talk to
Tonight
Mayor
you
Randall.
called me Michelle.
Yes. We don't want to talk to Mayor Randall. We want to talk to Michele Randall.
Perfect.
Okay? But we do want to talk to you a little bit about being mayor.
Okay.
Okay. First off, you are the first ever female mayor in the city of St. George.
I am.
Right? In the long history of the city, the first ever female mayor. How does that make you feel? Does that make you feel really accomplished? Was that something that there was always a goal of yours growing up?
It was never a goal of mine. In fact, politics were the last thing from my mind. Never in a million years did I ever think I'd be in politics or be the mayor of St. George. But when I was sworn in to be mayor, then I really did have some nostalgia because my great-great-great-grandparents came to St. George in whatever year it was, 18, whatever. I'm too tired to remember. But they were sent here with 309 other families. And they came here from Switzerland. So they immigrated to Salt Lake from Switzerland, and then they were sent to Santa Clara. And as I was being, they were always blue-collar folk. And not that the mayor isn't blue-collar, believe me. It is not, prestigious, glamorous, but I thought, I bet they never in their wildest dreams thought one day their great, great, great granddaughter would be the first mayor of St. George. And that makes me proud. I hope they're looking down on me thinking I'm doing a good job, and this beautiful city they started for us, that I'll leave it in better hands than I found it, and so on and so on. So
Yeah, no, 100%. And you are doing a great job, by the way.
Thank you.
So I've known you for the last couple of years. I've seen everything you've gone through. I saw your reelection process, right,
Fun, huh?
last year in the fall, and that is crazy, everything that you politicians have to go through. We won't talk conservatives, liberals, which side of the aisle you said, all your policies, things like that, even though that might get us a lot more clicks. We're not going to do that tonight. But I do want to ask you this. What has been the most beneficial part of your job that you've seen, that you love the most about being the mayor of this great city?
Meeting new people from all walks of life. Like this morning, I started my day with the Sunset Elementary School 4th and 5th graders, and there were about 70 of them there. And they wanted to know, I was explaining to them what I did as mayor, and they ask all kinds of questions, and you ask them, what's your favorite part of St. George? And the answers are all over the place, the beautiful rocks and the parks, and you ask them what their favorite park is, and everyone has a different answer. But then I got to swear them in, so they had their safety patrol and then also their student council. So I swore in the student council, and then the police chief swore in their safety patrol. And I love that. You know what? They're a great audience. They're enthusiastic. They ask really good questions, actually. And I've got to talk to a bunch of school groups, but I'll just meet with, you can call my cell or the city offices and set up an appointment with me, and I meet with anybody. And so it's been really great to get to know so many people in our community who are doing so many things that we don't know about. Last week, I had a gentleman that wanted me to meet with me, and he's a Catholic here in our town, and he has a certain title, and I wrote it down, and I don't have the notes with me, but he goes around on Sundays to all of the shut-ins or rest homes to give communion to all of them. And he goes clear up to Kanab and all over Washington County. So it takes him a lot of time to do it. And he lost his wife a few years ago. And so this is where he gets this passion from and loves doing it. And it's people like Art, that's his name, that we don't see or recognize because they're just going out serving their community quietly and don't want recognition. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, no, that is really cool. Really cool. Michele, you're a mom.
I am a
right?
mom.
How many kids do you have?
I have 4 children. I have boy, girl, boy, girl.
Awesome. Well, you did that well then.
I did.
Good job. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
You're also a grandmother.
I am a grandmother. Just
Right.
had our 11th grandbaby.
Wow, congratulations.
Yes,
How old
thank you.
is that little one?
She is 5-6 weeks old.
Yeah, very
Just-
recent then.
Just very recent.
Yeah, no, that is awesome. How are you able to balance life as mayor, right? Life as a public figure, as a civil servant here in St. George, and also being able to step out of that shell and come home and be a wife and a mom and a grandma? Like how do you balance all of that?
Some days it's hard. I'll give you an example. So I had a city council meeting a few weeks ago that was pretty rough. And I had 3 of my grandkids because their parents had gone to Mexico for their anniversary. So we were keeping them for a few days. And Friday morning, I was tired. I didn't sleep well. I got up. And my oldest granddaughter said to me, "Grandma, are you mad at us?" And I'm like, "No, I'm not mad at you." And she said, "You act mad at us." Well, I was angry by a situation that had happened at city council. And
Yeah.
so I was just kind of grumpy and short. And so it broke my heart. And I thought, I cannot bring this home. I have to just leave it. Sometimes I'll picture a box, just putting all my junk in a box, taping it up, and just putting it away for a while. And that's what I have to do in order to, like, my husband's great. He'll let me vent.
Yeah.
And he's a great person to vent to. But other than that, I need to let it go. And so sometimes it's hard. Sometimes I just like to chill out and watch something mind-numbing on TV that it's just entertaining. You don't have to think.
Yes.
You know?
Yes. Well, that does have to be hard, trying to balance the weight of a community, right, on your back and on the back of your city council members, and then be able to come home and shed all that weight and just be a mom and just be a grandma and play with the grandkids and just have a little bit of fun while trying not to have that just pound your head in the back of your mind.
Right, because you're always getting texts and emails. So
Yes.
if something major's going on with, say, a major accident or a drug bust or something, I'm going to get a text alert right away.
Yeah.
And so that's always going on, even when you're trying to just stay home and be a wife and a mom and a grandma. And so the balancing act is tough, but it's doable. It's no different than other people who have high stress jobs. You know, you just have to go home and say, okay, I'm home now. And on the weekends, I really try to just keep them open so that I can just do nothing, you know?
Yes.
Have some me time.
Yes. No, 100%. Yeah. And yeah, again, it's got to be a juggling act and a balancing act, but it seems like you do it pretty well.
Well, thanks.
For sure.
Fake it till you make it.
Exactly. Right. That's part of life sometimes. And, you know, speaking of life sometimes, right, let's get into the nitty gritty part of this right now. Okay. You know, on this podcast, that's one thing we love to share: human stories, human experiences, human interactions, right? Things that make us very human, very vulnerable, right? I mean, your nephew was my very first victim ever here on the podcast.
It was a great podcast.
Brady Pulsford came on here and poured out his soul about his drug life and being a former drug addict, and now he's clean, and just the switch he was able to flip in his life, right?
And we all lived through that because you know my family,
and
so you know how tight we are. It's not like one of those families where, I have a couple sisters, but I don't talk to them very often, or I don't talk to my parents very often. It's daily.
It's every day. You guys talk every day, multiple times a day.
And we are all interact with each other's kids. And so when Brady was going through his issues, it affected all of us.
Yeah.
You know, we were all affected by it.
Yes. And, I was not an official part of the family, right? But I'm able to weave my way in and out and sneak in the back door sometimes for a meal, right? But I was able to sit there and watch what he went through as well.
We don't make you come in the back door. Would you clarify that?
Just a figure of speech, everybody. Okay. I realize
we let Max use the front door.
We are from different walks of life, if you will, but I still get to come in the front door. I don't have to eat from a dog bowl on the patio, right? So great people, these guys. So they let me into their home.
We love you, Max.
I appreciate it. I love you guys too. But you've been through some very tumultuous times, you personally as well.
Yeah, I've had a few. I have a few battle scars.
A few, yes, literal scars, right? And
literal scars, yeah.
So let's get into that first, right? I want to talk about the breast cancer.
Okay.
Okay. You were diagnosed with breast cancer, I believe, 2019.
2019.
Yeah. So just walk us through, and when did you get surgery for, like, because you had to get a lot of things done because of breast cancer.
I had like 3 surgeries in 3 months, but so it was June 25th, 2019. You know how those dates just kind of pop out
they
you.
Stick.
And I just went in for a routine mammogram because I faithfully got them done every year, like you should once you're 40, I think it is now, or I can't remember. And the next day, I was driving in the car with my daughter and my grandkids. We were going to the pool, and they called and said, we saw something a little bit. We want you to come in for an ultrasound. That's happened before, no big deal. They scheduled the ultrasound for Friday of that week. I went in and got the ultrasound, and the ultrasound tech seemed to be taking forever. And then she just said, I'll be back. And so she came in with the radiologist, and he said, we see something on the mammogram, but the ultrasound's not picking it up. And so I really would feel comfortable if you had a biopsy. He said, I really don't think it's anything. He said, it almost looks like a scar. So I'm like, okay. So we scheduled the biopsy, and that was for a couple weeks later. And they told me to be out a week and they have the results. And the biopsy hurt like crazy. I'll be honest. I don't feel like I was completely numb when he went into, I lost all the color in my face, and the nurses were like, are you okay? I'm like, that really hurt. But the very next day, my doctor called me. It was a doctor that I had worked for 5 years, and she had ordered the mammogram. And when I picked up the phone, it happened to be my parents' anniversary, July 16th.
Wow.
And their 54th anniversary, and I picked up the phone and she was crying. And so then I knew, okay, this isn't good. And she told me that I had invasive lobular carcinoma. None of those words made sense to me.
Yeah.
And she said, we need to get you scheduled with oncology and a surgeon and all that good stuff. So I found out that lobular cancer, only 10% of women get it. 90% get ductal cancer. And my cancer was growing in a straight line. So it would never have produced a lump. I would have never been able to find it on self-exams. And even when I went into the surgeon, he said, he used the word miraculous. He said, it is miraculous that the radiologist found this. And so I had called a few women who I knew had lobular cancer, and a couple of them had elected to go with a lumpectomy, and the cancer always came back. And I just said, no, I'm not going to do that. So I said to the surgeon, I want a double mastectomy. I want it gone. And after I told him that, he said, very good choice.
Wow.
So they don't want to make the choice for you.
Yeah.
No. And so the end of August, I had a double mastectomy, found out that my hormones were feeding my cancer. So I'm on a hormone blocker for 5 to 10 years. And so far, so good, cancer-free. The lymph nodes came back and they were cancer-free. But there were a couple more surgeries I had to have after that. But it's good. So I physically see my battle scars, but they remind me of how blessed I was that it was caught in the very early stages, because breast cancer, there's no history in my family at all.
Wow.
None. And so I had him test me for the BRCA gene because my daughters especially wanted to know. And I tested negative for the BRCA gene as well.
Yeah.
So I was just one of the lucky few. But I made sure, at that time I was on the city council, and I made sure to use my platform on social media to really push out how important mammograms were.
Yeah.
And that truly a mammogram saved my life. And I had a friend go in for a mammogram in October, because October's Breast Cancer Awareness Month.
Yes.
And she said, I'm here because I had a friend that was diagnosed with breast cancer. And she said, is her name Michele Randall by chance? And she said, yes. And she said, give her, so they had one of those, a pink water, one of the metal, that keeps your water.
Like a hydro flask.
Yes. They said, please give her one of these. We've had so many women come in because of her.
Wow.
And I did a video for IHC that they put out. And so I guess that's when it's good to be more of a public figure when something like that happens, so you can bring awareness to it. And I did.
Yeah. That is really cool. And that's actually a great segue, because that was my next question for you, was the whole breast cancer awareness things that go on, right? We're sitting here the first week of November, right? Just got done with October, right? Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And I'm in the sphere where, as an athlete, right, you wear pink all month for your games, and you have different events that they get, things like that. And there's, the NFL puts out a big thing, because it's a big deal, when it comes to, Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And I always knew, even back in high school, October, you wear pink. You wear pink socks, you wear pink gloves, you have towels, right? Some teams wear pink jerseys, right? And there's a lot of awareness with it, right? But my question for you, as a breast cancer survivor, do you believe all of the publicity and all of the awareness, like, you know, like me going out and wearing pink cleats, right? And do you think it's effective, or do you think it's kind of just a, like, you know, more of a tradition than it is people actually pushing breast cancer awareness?
I actually think it's very effective. In fact, when I was diagnosed with cancer and got into my oncologist, he said, "Congratulations, your cancer gets a whole month." And he said, more money is raised for breast cancer than all other cancers.
Really? Wow.
And I think it's because the message has been so clear, and somebody knows somebody that's had it, whether it's a sister or a mother or a grandmother or a friend or whatever, somebody knows somebody. And I remember that when I was a little girl and people talking about breast cancer, and then a woman was almost like they were mutilated if you had a double mastectomy.
Yeah.
And they've come so far with surgeries and reconstruction and everything now. And it gives me a sense of pride that I'm a survivor. And when I go to events and I see the pink, I love it. I do. And you just took a bite.
I know.
Of your
I just took a bite. I'm trying to time it throughout our talk. Just like, okay, I should have taken a bite at the beginning, right after I asked that question.
That's okay.
That's really good. That's really good to hear, because for someone who is an athlete and who's grown up, wow, I sound really bad right now. Swallow. Who's grown up, you know, doing these different things, right? With, again, the pink gloves and the towels and the cleats and the little events that we go to and things like that. I always thought, like, okay, this is cool, but, like, you know, I don't really know anybody who has breast cancer, and it seems like we're kind of just out here just doing this because it looks cool, right? But it's really good to hear from a breast cancer survivor that you see is very effective. And that's really, because I think you're the only one who can really answer that question.
I do. And, you know, the Dixie Roundup Rodeo that we have here in St. George, huge tradition. And on Friday nights, they always have a tough enough to wear pink night. And so many people wear pink. And right after I got breast cancer, so it was like August 29th, I had my double mastectomy, and then 2.5 weeks later was the rodeo. And I went, even though I wasn't feeling great, but I went, and my family we ordered pink shirts that said "No one fights alone, Team Michele." And it really choked me up, because they do a little stint during the rodeo where they release pink balloons and they acknowledge breast cancer survivors, and then they also $1 per ticket goes toward your local to fight cancer locally. And so things like that, I think, it's great that it happens.
Yes.
So.
Yeah, no. And again, a lot of awareness is brought to it, right? Again, on a national to international platform with the NFL, and a lot of big events happen. So, but I'm glad to hear that things are actually getting done, and that there's money being donated, and that there's people actually going out and getting help and getting treatment for those different kind of things. So,
because there's a lot of women who can't afford a mammogram even.
Yeah.
And so they have mammograms where you don't have to pay for, and things like that. And that all comes through donations and people wanting to raise awareness. That's
great. That is so cool. You've had more people outside of yourself in your family who have struggled with health issues, right? Of course, more than one, and we'll get to them in a second. But I want to jump to your husband right now, right? He's had multiple heart attacks.
4.
Correct? 4. The good quadruple. Wow.
Yep.
He had his first heart attack when he was
36.
36.
Our
which
kids
is
were all small.
Very young to have a heart attack.
Mm-hmm.
So with him, you know, again, he's been through 4 of them. He's still alive. He's doing pretty well, from what I understand. At least last time I saw him, he looked like he was doing pretty good.
He's still kicking.
Yeah, still kicking, still rolling around. What has that done in your life to kind of put things in perspective when it comes to, you know, how you live, what you do, you know, because some people would take, my husband had a heart attack at 36 years old. He's had 4 of them, right? I constantly live in fear every single day.
I do live in fear.
Yes, no, for sure. But other people would take that and say, you know what? I'm also going to enjoy every single day with this person. It sounds like it's a combination of both.
It is. When he had his first heart attack, our hospital wasn't a trauma 2 hospital, so he had to be life flighted to Salt Lake. And I remember flying up on a plane with my parents later, and I just started to cry. And I remember saying to my mom, I feel like I'm going to be a widow at a young age. And so every heart attack since then, that fear is still in me. Like, it's terrible, but I have his funeral planned out in my head, and I've made sure that he knows everything we have, because I pay all the bills. I do that, all that stuff. So if I were to go first, here's the life insurance policy.
Yeah.
Here's the bank. We,
Yes.
our mortgage is paid through, all that stuff.
For sure.
So it's just made me realize that you never know. You never know when your time is up. And some people, I have a dear friend, and she just celebrated her 100th birthday 2 weeks
Wow.
ago. 100,
Yeah.
and then I have another friend who's burying her sister-in-law tonight, who's 44.
Oh my
That was
gosh.
hit by a car on her bicycle. So, we all have our challenges, and we all try and face them the best we can. It's made my kids, I think, more aware of of their genetics.
Yeah.
Trying to take better care of themselves. It's just like, so my only brother died by suicide in 2016. And we as a family decided to be really open about that, because there's just things that people don't like to talk about. And suicide is one of those things. You don't want to talk about it. But we chose to say, we need to let people know what this is like, and that it happens to no family's immune. No family's immune. And when I share that story, it's amazing to me when I talk and talk about my brother and different things, how many people will come up to me after and say, I lost a sibling the same way, or I lost my father that way, or whatever. And so you can either just try and bury it and pretend like everything's hunky-dory, or you can try and help other people by the trials that you go through.
Yeah. Yes. You're giving me a lot of great segues on this. I feel like you've done an interview or two in your lifetime.
I've done a couple.
Yeah, just a couple. So let's talk about your family, right? Your siblings and your parents, right? So your brother did pass away via suicide, right? Like you said, in 2016. Most of his life was plagued with different medical issues.
Yes.
Right. And I can't remember the name. You'll have to remind me. You have a sister who is currently still in a battle with her medical issues. For 17 years, thought it was scleroderma. Very recently, we all found out it was Crest syndrome. She's been misdiagnosed for 17 years.
Yep.
Right. And your mother has also struggled with a ton of medical issues. I mean, you guys are fighting you guys are taking knockout blows left and right, but somehow you still get back up.
Somebody asked me one day if one of our houses were built on like an Indian burial ground.
I mean, my goodness. That's a lot.
There's a saying in our family, and you might have heard my sister say it, you got to be tougher than the Clary boys. Now that came because, so my ancestors settled Santa Clara, where it was, and they were Swiss. And then my grandma came from her dad, which was my grandpa Bowler. He always said he came from the Gunlock Vale area, and he always said you had to be tougher than the Clary boys, meaning the Santa Clara boys. So we always say that in our family. But my mom rarely complains. I mean, she has rheumatoid arthritis, she has Crohn's disease, she has autoimmune hepatitis. And she just goes until sometimes she physically can't go anymore.
Yeah.
When my mom's really sick, it's when she's not doing anything.
Yeah.
Otherwise, she'll push herself to the limits. And that's the example we grew up looking at. And then, so I'm the oldest of four.
Okay.
And so my sister Marshane, who you know very well,
Yes.
that is in the wheelchair, I've looked at her and I know that she has got to be in more pain than any of us even know. And yet she has such faith, and that come what may and love it. That's her favorite saying.
Yeah.
And she does a lot of motivational speaking, even though she can't do anything herself. She can feed herself and that's it. But she couldn't literally make herself anything to eat. If nobody brought her food, she would never eat.
Yeah.
She couldn't go to the bathroom by herself. She can't put herself in bed. She can't dress herself. She can't bathe herself. And so I look at her and I'm like, cancer's nothing compared to that, you know?
Yeah.
And yet she tries to maintain a good attitude. I know she gets down and there's times she cries and she struggles, but she just tries to be positive and let others know that your life may not be so bad, you know? Don't take things for granted.
100%. Yes. Yeah. Yes. And what did your brother have? Because he was kind of the opposite of Marchene.
He
right?
was. He had Ehlers-Danlos syndrome.
Yeah.
And so,
and what is that? Can you explain that a little bit?
No, but I can. So one day we were going to lunch and I was driving and he was in the passenger seat and he just went to do up his seatbelt and his shoulder dislocated.
Yeah.
And so his tendons and ligaments, they would just stretch out and they don't go back.
Yeah. And
so he had 20 some odd surgeries, shoulders done, knees done, ankles done, everything. And it just got to the point where the pain was so intense and he couldn't work anymore. And he was 44, married with 3 children, and just couldn't do it anymore. So, and they do call Ehlers-Danlos syndrome the suicide disease.
Really?
Mm-hmm. They do.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it sucks, but and that was one of the hardest things I've ever been through. I'd take cancer any day.
Yes.
Because watching your parents be so heartbroken. I mean, we all were, but I can't imagine bearing a child, no matter how old I am. You're just supposed to outlive all of your kids. And then when they die in that way, it just is so much more tragic.
Yes. Yes. No, I can't even imagine that. And again, as that is going on, right, again, that happened in 2016, right? And, Marchene was, again, it was and still is currently in her battle with her disease. And then 3 years later, breast cancer pops up for you. Right. So, I mean, what amazing parents to be able to stabilize your family with all those different things going on. And, Marchene had 5 kids, still has 5 kids and has a slew of grandkids. Now she had her newest grandson 2 weeks ago, maybe.
Yeah,
right.
Just a few weeks ago.
Shout out Chad and Jess. Congratulations to you guys.
Yes. An adorable little baby.
Little boy. Yep. You're a mother and doing everything with your kids and grandkids as you're going through breast cancer. I mean, it's gotta be, you guys gotta be a really close knit family. And I know you guys are.
It takes a village, and our family's a village.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're our own village. And my parents so well, and they would be there in a drop of a hat. If any of us needed them or anything's going on, they're right there. And I feel like we all are. I could call a nephew, I could call a niece, I could call, I can just call my sisters to vent or cry or, share something stupid or funny. And we're just always, I think when I hear people say, well, I haven't spoken to my sister for this, I just can't imagine not speaking to my family members, because that's just not how we are.
No, for sure. And it's not like you guys don't have disputes, right? It's not like you guys don't disagree and get into fights and things like that, right? But I guess what gives you the ability to continually repair those relationships and continue to work on yourself with your siblings, with your parents, with your kids, with your grandkids, to the point where you guys are such a tight-knit group that really nothing can shred you guys. When you guys have different disputes over what you're doing as a mayor or
they better not criticize me over that. They know better than that.
yes, no, for sure.
What's so funny is when people do criticize me, I mean, all of their claws come out.
Oh,
and
I've seen that.
And I have to rein them in and say, nope, you can't say anything. People can say what they want. Just be quiet. But, so Marshane and I, we shared a room growing up.
Okay.
And you're too young to remember the Odd Couple.
Yeah. I know I don't look young enough, but
you are.
I am.
But so there was Felix and Oscar, and Felix was neat, OCD, just everything had to be perfect. And Oscar was a pig and just c'est la vie, who cares, da da da.
Yeah.
That was me and Marshane. I was Oscar.
I was going to ask which one was which.
No, I was Felix. She was Oscar.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
She was a piglet. And I still tease her to this day. And I'm like, it was so torturous for my parents to make us share a room. That was the worst thing they could ever do. She would leave for school and I would fix her bed because it wasn't made the way perfectly, And I look back now and I just laugh. I'm like, I wasted so much time carrying what her drawers looked like, or, And now she would give anything to make a perfect bed with nurses' corners and have all of her clothes neat in a drawer, and it's cyclical.
It is.
Yeah.
It really is. Yeah. And so I guess again, what keeps you guys still coming back after everything, again, because again, you guys have your disputes like any family, right? But in some families, there are disputes that can happen that ends relationships, right? I'm not talking to my sister or brother for the rest of my life, or I haven't talked to them in years because of this certain dispute, right? What's different in your guys' family, in your guys' dynamic of a family that keeps that from happening, right? Because again, you guys fight just like anybody else, and sometimes it's pretty ugly, right? Because again, you do have family members who will come to your defense and who will say what needs to be said when it comes to defending you as a mayor, and sometimes it might be a little too much, right?
Right.
And so you got to try and rein them in, even when they don't want to.
Like sometimes you unfriend a certain family member on Facebook. But I friended him again, so that was good.
Jeff Rogers, we love you, my man. I mean, the name has to be said.
I love Jeff to death.
Jeff is a man's man.
Yeah.
Like you want to talk about a defender?
Absolutely.
That dude comes to your aid 24/7.
He would, and he would. I could never have him as a bodyguard because he'd end up in jail. So, there were some times where like, it's just too much. I can't read anymore. Click.
Yeah.
But then after a while, I'm fine with him,
Yes.
and I'm like, okay, I can read your stuff now.
Yeah.
So I'll friend you again.
Yes.
But
yeah. So just the dynamic in general. What keeps you guys being able to develop the relationship just in your family as a whole?
I think our parents have always just been strong. They've always put family first. It was always family first. When we were young and poor, I mean, every Monday night we did something as a family, whether it was if we watched home movies, which my dad hated watching the old 8mm movies. That's one of our favorite things. Or we always played the guessing game. So you're an animal, like charades.
Okay.
Or we would just go out and build a bonfire and have hot dogs and Chips Ahoy cookies.
Good combo.
Good combo, right?
Yeah.
Because we didn't have a lot of money, but my parents always made sure that we just stayed a really close family. Family prayer was a huge thing in our home. And I know my parents, they probably both have calluses on their knees as much time as they spend praying for every member of their family. They probably still go through and mention every single one by name.
Yeah.
Even down to the great grandkids.
And they have a lot of great grandkids.
Yeah, they just had 5 since July.
No way.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. Boom, 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 boom.
Yes.
Yeah. 2 girls and 3 boys.
Yes. So the grandkids are working then.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
That's right.
Cool.
So I think it's that. It's faith, it's prayer, it's just remembering that family's first, no matter what.
Yeah. Yeah. And family is something that's very important in life. And it's sad to see when a lot of people, some people don't get that benefit of having a close-knit family or things struggle with a family dynamic, right? Like I feel like I have the best parents in the world because they're able to, I'm black, my parents are white, right? I mean, and they were able to take 5 black kids from 5 different families, 5 different parts of the country and bring us all in under one roof and create and make a family, which to this day, I'm shocked that my mom and dad were ever able to do that. And what amazing people they are. Shout out Max and Christy. But yeah, so
they raised great kids.
We're doing all right.
You're doing all right.
We're doing our best right now.
And you still get to come in the front door, not the back.
Yes. Hey, sometimes my parents do make us come in the back door. So, but yeah, what amazing people they are. And so I definitely understand how important a family dynamic is. Kind of how your family was built onto, being able to have the foundation of something, which in your family was prayer, right? And really just being able to, no matter what happens, forgive and move on and continue to grow and continue to learn from each other, right? I guess since we're on the family topic, right? What is the biggest thing that you've learned as a mom and a grandma, if we can combine the two of them, right? That has helped you be a better you, that has helped you be a better Michele as an individual?
So first, they lie to you. When you become a parent, they tell, there's this lie out there that says somewhere that once you raise them and they're out of the house, then all your cares will go away and life will be just splendid.
Yeah.
That's a lie. Because then you're worrying about your kids who are older that you can't tell what to do anymore. Then they have children and you're worrying about all of those children and hoping like my daughter still gets bugged. They'll go out to Lake Powell for a week. And I'm like, make sure the kids are wearing their life jackets all time and you know where they are and da-da-da. And she's like, Mom, really? I know this.
Yeah.
But they all have such different personalities. All 4 of my kids, they have the same 2 parents.
Yeah.
But they're all so different. They're all unique in their own ways. They all have their own unique qualities about them. And I've noticed that with my grandkids as well. And our oldest grandson is autistic. He's on the spectrum. And he's taught me that you have to have a lot of patience. His brain doesn't work like mine works. And, I might ask him to do something. He's not going to do it right away. And I have to make sure that I ask him in a different manner than I can ask somebody else. And if, let's say he's on the computer, say, okay, in 15 minutes, I'm going to come in and tell you have to get off the computer, okay? And make him acknowledge that I said that. Because if I just go in and say, okay, it's off the computer now, then he could have a complete meltdown. So, and they're all unique and they all, some of them are sassy, some of them are shy, some of them are, athletic, some are just super intelligent.
Yeah.
And they all just bring such a different dynamic to your family. And it's great. When we get together, it's loud, it's a little crazy, but it's awesome.
Yeah.
Like, where were we just the other day? I can't remember. And my dad's like, a bunch of the great-grandkids were there and the grandkids. And he's like, we did all this. Started with 4,
Yep.
then it grew to 8, and then it grew to,
Yeah.
so it's great. I wouldn't change my favorite role, my favorite title. If you ask me what my favorite title is, it wouldn't be mayor.
Yeah.
It would be grandma.
Yes.
It's the best.
Yes.
Absolutely the best.
And why is grandma better than mom?
Because They think you're awesome.
And you get to send them home after.
You get to send them home.
Right?
You can spoil them rotten.
Yes.
You can give them whatever they want. They think, you're not the one disciplining them, and you just love them and send them home.
Yeah.
So it's great.
That's awesome. So speaking of favorites, hot seat right now. Do you have a favorite? Do you have a favorite kid?
I don't.
Do you have a favorite grandkid?
No.
Okay. Hey,
And if I did, I wouldn't tell you anyway.
I know you wouldn't. I just wanted to see. Just wanted the same generic answers that every parent, grandparent gives. So
My kids would tell
awesome.
you different. They would
course.
tell you, no,
Of
so
course.
and so's your favorite.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's how within the kids
Just like
circle-
I'm my mom's favorite.
Oh, you know.
I
Okay.
know. Yeah.
Good. Yeah.
But you go ask Marshane or Mindy, and they're going to tell you something different.
Of course, yes, because within the kid dynamic, right, within the sibling dynamic, we all know who's the favorite,
Right.
or at least we assume, But and the parents will never admit it; they'll never tell us. Neither will the grandparents, right? I mean, just like I think I'm the favorite grandchild on my mom's side of the family, at least, but yeah, that's how it goes. But one more question, Mayor.
Yes.
I know you have a very busy schedule, and I know we need to wrap up here. So I have one final question for you, and it's the question of the show, right? The question that this whole entire podcast is founded on, that's based on, that every guest has been asked. All three of them before you. You are the fourth one, right? So what is something in life that you feel like you can ride with or roll with outside of family? Right, because again, I know your answer would be family if I didn't exclude them, right? Based off of this whole entire podcast that we've given, but excluding family, what's something you feel like you can ride with or roll with in life till the wheels fall off? Like what has made you go through everything you have with your mom, with your sister, with your brother, with your breast cancer, and with your husband's struggle as well, and still wake up the next morning and be a productive human being, become the mayor of St. George, right? What is something in life that has motivated you to get to this point?
There's a couple answers, but I think it all boils down to my faith, to starting each day with prayer and saying there's a higher being than me, and I've been given all of these trials and a lot of triumphs too. And so I owe that all to one person. And so, that's what I'll go with.
That's a really good answer.
Hey,
really
thank
good
you.
answer. And then I think you're the first person to give that kind of answer. So faith's a big deal. Whether you believe in a higher power, it's great to have belief in something. Right. Whatever that may be, right. It's really hard not to judge people when they don't believe the same thing as you, but we all say, hey, don't judge me for this, and this, right? And so, yeah, like if you have something that you're able to believe in, right, that helps you get up every morning, that gives you a purpose, right? Is that the biggest thing? Is it your faith gives you purpose?
It does. And also we talked about all the sicknesses in my family and my brother. I personally believe that I'm going to see him again.
Yes.
And if I lose family members from now until then, I've got to continue to believe that there's something else past this life.
Yeah.
And that keeps me going. Or else, why? Well, what are we all doing here?
For sure. For sure.
So that gives me peace and comfort.
Yeah. Yeah. And gives you that purpose of, hey, I'm out here for something, right? Like all this suffering, all this pain, physical, mental, emotional, spiritual that you've been through, right, is for something. It's for something bigger than myself.
Yep.
Right.
Exactly.
So, well, Mayor Randall, Michele, right? Thank you so very much, seriously, for taking time to come on the podcast, to share your story, to be so open, to be so vulnerable. Hopefully, your story will be able to, again, like all of our stories that we've had on the podcast so far, be able to show people that, hey, there's a lot of people, whether they're public figures or whether I've never even heard of them before, right, that have been through just maybe the same things I've been through, right? Maybe there's people out there who have suffered from breast cancer who will be able to watch this and say, hey, Michele Randall made it through, right? I can make the attempt as well, right? Michele Randall made it through a sibling passing away via suicide, right? I can make it through as well, right? And parents being sick and other siblings being sick, right? And husbands who may suffer from different illnesses as well. And so there's like, you've been through a lot in life, specifically in the realm of sickness, right? And so we really, really appreciate you being so open and vulnerable and sharing that story with us.
You're so welcome. And thanks for the donuts.
Of course.
That was dinner.
Yeah. Well, again, like you said, we ate that a little late, but even though it's a little late, it's never a bad time for a donut. Ever. Right.
Yeah.
Again, everybody, one more time. Okay. Huge shout out. You can't even see it because of the lights. There it is. The Donut Run, 922 East Brigham Road. Right. Go check them out. Brandon Turley's the main guy running that one. Right. But big shout out to Riley Booth as well. And a big shout out to you guys for always listening, always tuning in. We appreciate you, all the support and all the love. Again, keep listening. We're going to put out a lot more content. We're going to have great stories and great guests on, like Michele Randall, each and every time we put one of these out there. Stay tuned, stay positive, and keep on grinding through life. We appreciate you guys, and we love you. And we'll see you on the next episode.
Thanks, Max.
Thank you.
Let's just ride till the wheels fall off.
Till the wheels fall off. We gon' ride till the wheels fall off. Until the wheels fall off.
This has been another episode of Till the Wheels Fall Off, hosted by Max Christensen III. Join us next time to hear more stories of life and passion, along with words of wisdom we can all learn from.